was, we were fortunate to play on Saturday. It gave us a couple of days to, reflect on the win. Obviously, look at the tape, improve from there, and get your body right. A lot of recovery goes into it. But then I think where you're able to turn the pages when you start prepping, start watching film on them, start getting the game plan in, start dissecting all the little details, and getting into the rhythm of the week. And that's where we are right now. And your body, because we've done it so many times this year, you have a rhythm throughout the week that you go through to prepare for the game. And now we're in the midst of it. So.
When you turned the tape on, what was the wow moment when you said, okay, I got to handle this with the Vikings defense?
I think the big thing with them, they've been together for a while. The players have played together. They play fast. You don't see them bust coverages. They communicate back and forth really well, and they're on the same page. And it's hard to key in on one thing or the other. And first off, they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talented guys, whether it's the corners, the secondary, the D-line, linebackers. There's a lot of speed. So I've been really impressed with watching them on tape.
When you see this, let's talk about the team at the moment, just let it go at that. But a game like this, conference championship, chance to go to the Super Bowl, how comfortable the balance, just the whole moment, just focus on the game itself? How comfortable the balancing act is that?
I think it's something that you have to really, in a sense, just make it. It's obviously a very big game. There's 4 teams left. But that's where just getting into the rhythm of your preparation and trusting that and eliminating distractions, whatever they may be that pull you from your focus of during the week. If something's pulling you and you know that it is on the field or off, just at this time you just got to get rid of it. And the more you can just stay in the moment of preparing, doing what you have to do to get ready for Sunday's game, that'll make when you step on the field. I mean, it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. But that'll allow you to, play at your best.
Given the journey that you took to get back here and where you are right now, how special a moment is this for you to get to this point into that game?
Just how special it is. It's been a crazy journey. We're blessed to be in this game. It's been a wild ride this season. We've had, so many things go on, so many guys step up, so many injuries. The guys who are injured have done an amazing job of staying around the building and being a huge part of the heartbeat of this team. And that's sort of the DNA here. And we've talked about it over and over again. So I really focus on that. When you step on the field, we're always playing for each other. That's our strength as a team, is we're playing for the guy next to us, playing for the guys who got injured. We're playing for the city. So you're not playing just for yourself. Part of you got to play for yourself. You got to have that heart, but you got to play, our strength comes from each other.
Pat Sherman will be on the opposite.
Effective on.
What was that?
What makes them so effective on third down? I think they're 25% conversion.
Yeah.
What do you see from them?
I think the big thing with them, like I said, they play real fast. And the communication, like watching them on film, when they communicate, when they check, when teams are doing different formations and different shifts, you can tell that they have a really good game plan for that moment. They do a great job of film study. You can tell by what coverages they run at specific times. And the key to anything is they play fast. They're not thinking, they're reacting. They're a reactionary defense. So the second the ball's completed, guys are shooting to it and making tackles really quick. They do a really good job of limiting yak yards. And in third down, sometimes you have to check it down and get those yak yards. So they do a really good job of rallying and stopping them before they, get the first down.
Pat Sherman will be on the opposite sideline this week. I'm curious, what impact did he have specifically on you that first season when played so well?
Yeah, Pat, he's a tremendous coach. I really enjoyed playing for him, and I'm excited. He's obviously had a lot of success since, and I haven't seen him since I was here last, I believe. So it'll be good to see him and compete against them.
Giants job for him. What was your first thought when you heard he might be taking the Giants job?
I was really excited for him, for that opportunity. I know he's focused on their team, but I'm excited for his opportunity.
Does he like Doug at all? You've played for both of them.
They're different. They're different in play calling. They're both very talented at what they do. Obviously, they both, Coach Peterson, has done an amazing job this year, and Coach Shermer's done a great job there, but different styles.
Nick, how are you right now with Doug in terms of him calling the plays for you? Are you kind of on the same page, like when he calls it in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when Coach Peterson calls it in, I know, what he's thinking, why he's thinking it. And that's a good thing. And that's just with the experience, you get the more you play for a coach, the more you understand what they're thinking when they call a play, the more you see them install the plays in meetings, and then you're able to run them in practice and talk to him about what he sees, what you see, and then it's just like anything. You build that relationship. So each week we get stronger.
Are there moments maybe like the back-to-back screen passes where you weren't expecting it? But
No, I mean, Doug's – sometimes, I mean, I love it. I love it. That's sort of – I mean, that's how I think too. And I think just keeping the defense off balance in those situations, the fact that we're continuing to talk about the back-to-back screens sort of shocking to me because, you know, it's just one of those things when you're in the game and you play, like you want to keep the defense off balance. You don't want them to hone in on what you're doing because if they do, especially this defense, they're very good.
You had success with short, quick passes against Atlanta, Nick, and I think 3 of your drives were like 12, 13, 14 plays. This is a defense that doesn't give up a lot of those long drives. Yeah. Is it going to be important to get some chunk plays against these guys?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to, you know, absolutely. We're going to have to be able to take some shots. I think against Atlanta, they play the different coverage where they try to keep everything in front of them. And Minnesota does a really good job of, you know, they're a little bit more diverse in their coverages. They like to switch it up. They do a good job of rocking and rolling the safeties. And they play a lot tighter down. They're not going to give us as much underneath. So, yeah, we're going to absolutely have to, you know, make some larger completions.
What do you think it says that, like, you know, when the season started, both you and Case were backup quarterbacks, and here you guys are, you know, playing for a shot, you know, the Super Bowl and everything. I mean, is that kind of strange?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing, I mean, you just always got to believe and you always have to prepare. And I know being around Case, I know his – you know, he does an amazing job preparing and working and just being a great team player. And then, you know, sometimes things happen where, you know, unfortunately guys get injured and you have to step in and, you know, it's your job to lead the team. And, you know, he's really done an amazing job. It doesn't surprise me. And, you know, that was my job stepping in for Carson to lead this team like I have before. And I think the big thing is you just have to constantly prepare and make sure that you're watching every single rep. Whenever, you know, if you're the backup, you're watching every rep because eventually, you know, if you do go in, you're going to be glad you did.
Have you thought about how kind of crazy it is that you and Case are about to face off in an NFC Championship game?
I know. I mean, it's pretty wild. Absolutely. I mean, we were on the same team not, you know, too many years ago. But that's where, like, I know I've said over and over again, you know, Case's success and the way he plays doesn't surprise me because him and I were together and we prepared together. We were around each other every day. But I think the big message there is no matter what happens, you just got to keep believing in yourself, keep working hard, and just, you know, never give up.
How is it for you to do that, to not give up, and while you're waiting for the opportunity?
I mean, I think the big thing is you got to know where your heart is. Why are you doing it? I think that's where you got to ask yourself whenever you play this game, whatever you do. I know I did several years ago, you know, I had to take a step back and say, you know, am I doing this for the right reason? Because if I can't do it with my heart, I can't do it. And I've always said that, you know, I'm not going to do something unless my heart's in it. So when you have your heart in something, you give it everything you have. And I think that's the big thing.
Was there a moment where you thought, I don't know, am I ever going to get another shot? Or am I, you know, my coach going to believe in me, you know, God?
Not necessarily that moment where you're worried about that. It's just, you know, a couple years ago, and I've said this, where, you know, there's going to be some point where we all finish playing this game. And, you know, I had to take a week off, a week after, you know, when I was a free agent just to think about it. And it was the best thing that ever happened because, you know, I think people are fearful of feeling that way because they feel like they're the only ones that feel that way. But everyone, you know, we're professional athletes and we have moments where we step back and we have to think and assess everything in our life. Like I have a family, I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have a dog. Like, you know, I have to step back and like focus on that because that's, you know, so important to me. And I'm so fortunate to have my wife there to talk these things through. And in these moments where, you know, we're, you know, new backdrop, we're playing for this championship game, like you do reflect, you know, a few days ago, you just sit there and I sat there with my wife and we just talked about it and just how blessed we are to be in this moment. But I know where my heart is, and my heart's, you know, was all, you know, being in Philly, being with these guys, going out there on the field, like stepping in the huddle and knowing that each guy is playing for each other. That's a special thing, and that's been the testament of this season. And, you know, it's honor and blessing to be here and playing this game. What was that?
What convinced you not to retire after the 15 season when you were thinking about it?
I talked a lot to my wife, and I remember just saying a prayer. I literally said a prayer, and then just like I said, my heart said, you know, go back. And at that moment, it was going back to play for Coach Reed. And when I did, you know, I'm a better person because of that decision. It wasn't an easy decision. It's not like it was 100%, but my faith and my guidance and the way I felt like going into that experience allowed me to grow, to make me a better player now, because you experience those emotions, you go through that. I mean, that's not, it's an emotional thing. It's something I've done my entire life. And to go through that and make that decision, that wasn't easy, but, you know, I leaned on my wife, I leaned on my family, and I leaned on my faith in those moments, and I'm very grateful I made the decision I did, and we made it together, so.
How has Carson been able to help out here? I mean, how has he been able to contribute? What ways with him?
I think the big thing about Carson is him just being around, being and doing everything and working and rehabbing and doing everything he can, and then being on the sidelines. I mean, he's a huge reason we're in this position. He's done such an amazing job in his 2 years in the NFL of, you know, continuing to create this atmosphere and obviously going out there and making electric plays, but then really just making everyone believe. And, you know, that hasn't changed. Though he's injured, he's still around. And I think that's, you know, I love having him around when we're watching film or when I'm in the game and I go to the sidelines, just talking to him, seeing what he sees.
He's talking to you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go over there. I mean, it's always been Nate, him, and I. And, you know, the roles have changed, but we still talk, we still communicate. And that's something that's really special. And just to see his attitude and his heart throughout this whole thing is, you know, it's been amazing. And, you know, it's really cool to, you know, have him around and do this all together, because nothing, you know, our relationship in the QB room has stayed the same. We continue to work together.
Take one more from Zach. In your career, you've had hot games, you've had cold games. Do you have a sense early in the game how it's going to go, and how do you get that rhythm that you look for?
Yeah, I mean, I think you play this game long enough, you're going to have all sorts of games. The key word is rhythm, and how do you get rhythm is the question. And I think it's when you're just reacting and playing, you're not thinking. I mean, anytime you do something great, there's not much going on in your mind. You're not having to assess it. You're just playing. Thinking and all that is for during the week when we go out there to practice. You got to think through new plays. You got to think through seeing these new coverages, new looks. But then when you get to the game, I think that's where you just have to trust it and just go play.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank y'all.